Early Monday morning, 6 top security prisoners, all terrorists with blood on their hands, escaped from Israel's high-security Gilboa prison, bringing the Hollywood prison escape in the Shawshank Redemption movie to life. The prisoners dug their own tunnel over several months using a spoon, and then they escaped through the sewage system of the prison. There is so much to discuss about this movie scene coming to life in Israel. It goes way beyond the actual escape. Folks, as you know, social media censorship is growing. The best way to support our video work for Israel is to subscribe to our video newsletter on pulseofisrael.com and to share our videos. If you are already a subscriber, then thank you. First of all 6 of these terrorists who escaped are serious terrorists who are responsible for killing many, many innocent Jews. 5 of the inmates are Islamic Jihad terrorists who have been convicted in connection to fatal terror attacks, including shootings and suicide bombings. The 6th prisoner who escaped is Zakaria Zubeidi, a high-profile commander in Fatah's military wing who was formerly on Israel's most wanted list. Zubeidi is responsible for numerous deadly shootings and bombings. Fatah is the terrorist organization that now runs the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas is the head of the Fatah movement. So Zubeidi committed all the terror acts when he was an active member of the Palestinian Authority security services. Internalize that, folks. Making matters even worse for the prison authorities is the prison guards did not pick up on the escape, even though at several points the prisoners appeared on the security cameras. The prison authorities only found out about the prison escape hours later, after it was reported that farmers spotted suspicious people roaming near their community. As this Israeli crime journalist tweeted, quote, "The failure of the prisoner escape from Gilboa prison. The guard in the tower fell asleep. But according to a source close to the incident, the prisoners waited between a quarter of an hour and 20 minutes near the exit shaft without anyone noticing. This is an area that is photographed with several cameras that transmit the image to the prison's control center. How did no one notice the escape on camera? It was a massive mistake on so many levels by so many people." Worse than the actual escape of these terrorists, this episode has highlighted serious flaws in Israel's prison system with regards to the guarding and policing of serious terrorists in the prisons. For years, I've been talking about the light-handed attitude of Israel's prison services towards terrorists who are imprisoned. Prison is not prison for them. It is rather more like a Hilton hotel experience in jail cells. The prisoners are the ones who run the prisons. The prison services do not dare institute any rules that would make the prisoners upset and maybe riot. The prisoners want to watch international soccer tournaments on television? No problem, let them watch. The prisoners want to study towards earning bachelor's or master's degrees while in prison? No problem, let them study. They want certain women officers to be placed in their cell blocks to do whatever they want? No problem. That last example actually made headline news in Israel a number of years ago. As this crime journalist reported and tweeted about, quote, "An intelligence officer admits in a police investigation that he transferred a female prison guard to the security wing of terrorists only because the terrorist asked for it," end quote. Can you believe it? This is done by the prison services. All of this giving the Hilton hotel experience to terrorists all emanates from the progressive ideology that has taken over many of the leadership positions, which believes that the best way to ensure peace and quiet is to appease and give in to our enemies' demands, even in prison. Just check out this comment just published by a prison officer who recently resigned from his position. Quote, I'm translated the English from his Hebrew post. "I resigned from the prison services 2 months ago from a security prison in the south. The terrorists run the prison. The prison authorities can't do anything without the approval of the senior terrorist in the prison." He then gives various examples and ends his comment saying, "I am so glad no longer to be serving with the prison services," end quote. As if that is not enough of a problem, we have Israeli politicians serving in Israel's coalition government right now who are praising the terrorists who escaped prison. Here is Knesset member Aida Tuma being called out by an Arab-Israeli friend of mine for her public support of the terrorists who just escaped prison. And my Israeli Arab friend writes, quote, "Unbelievable. While the whole country is busy chasing six terrorists who escaped from prison, there is a Knesset member who expresses open support for them and the security prisoners now rioting in Israeli prisons. And she increases and calls on those terrorists with blood on their hands political prisoners and calls on the state not to harass them. Shame. Her place is there in prison with them." End quote. And on top of all that, Arab Muslims are rioting in places across Israel, in the prisons, outside of Jerusalem, and in cities and towns across Judea and Samaria and Gaza. Why are they rioting? Well, this headline captures the reason quite clearly. They are rioting in support of the escaped prisoners. Why? Because they see the successful escape of 6 terrorists, major terrorists, as a huge failure of Israel, emboldening them to use more violence against Israelis and Israeli forces. And this brings me to repeat the ultimate message that I say over and over again, which our own leaders ignore, not just in Israel, but also in America and the West. Appeasement to our enemies makes our situation worse, not better. Too many of our political leaders, army leaders, police leaders, and even justice officials have been brainwashed by the progressive left to think that by appeasing our violent enemies, then they will get quiet for our societies. They totally ignore reality and the truth, which is the exact opposite. Our Islamic jihadist enemies see our appeasement as weakness, which invites them to up their level of violence against us. In the end, our enemies want to destroy Israel and kill Jews. The only way to stop them is to punish them harshly and not let them get away with violence, not to appease them. Here I pray for the day that we merit the leadership necessary in all of our countries and in all the different positions to do what is necessary to bring about true peace and quiet to our societies, which means having a strong hand against our violent, terrorizing enemies and stopping any and all form of appeasement.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.